This is the strongest season I've ever seen Wilderness alone. Every player is a master hunter. They didn't just hunt grouse. And 2 of the contestants hunted the beavers. $500,000 a day for barbecued meat. Would you like to participate in such a good deed? Time came to day 17. Benji got up early. He hunted a beaver yesterday, but it was never found, so he had to search for the injured beaver as soon as possible. Benji came to the shore and looked everywhere. Based on the area where he was last seen, he found traces of grass here. I can't believe he actually found it. The beaver is dead. It weighs about a dozen pounds. This beaver is worth more than a dozen grouse. In a short time, Benji can rely on this beaver for a vacation life. He carried the beaver back. It was very exciting all the way. In this cold environment, the beaver's fat is very important for survival. Benji handles beavers in the grass. Let's get the guts out first. Both the liver and the heart. Beavers have a lot of meat. It can last a long time if it's smoked jerky. Mr. Tan has been perfecting the shelter. He finally had his own wooden bed. Sleeping on it feels very comfortable. Tanrin found a lot of holes around the shelter. These are squirrel nests. Tanrin plans to make traps to hunt the squirrels. These pine cones are a favorite food of pine trees. He plans to use the cones as bait. If you can catch a squirrel, you can eat. He fashioned a stick into a trigger. Stick the stick in the ground. Then tie the rope to the branch. Then the other end of the rope is hooked to the stick. A squirrel sling is in place. This trap doesn't work as well as Jesse's. It takes tens of minutes to set a trap like this. Quantity is what counts. The barbecue grill has been set up in Bongi. Use pine branches to form a smoker. He needs to get rid of the beavers as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will rot away easily. Benji hung the beaver on the tree, then peeled the skin with a knife. This fur is a treasure. When dried, it can be used as a cushion to keep warm in winter. The tail of a beaver is very fatty. It tastes great roasted. A beaver is assigned to a beaver, barely enough to eat for a month. But gringos don't make soup out of bones. Not as good at food use as the Chinese. Put the meat on the grill. The fire starts at the bottom for smoking. Cover the pine branches and wait. At night, Benji eats beaver's hearts and livers. It feels so good to eat fat. The beaver meat sizzles on an iron pan. Now he doesn't need to eat or drink. The first day I caught a beaver, I thought he'd have a good meal. Looks like a thrifty boy. The time came to day 18. Terry woke up early in the morning. He felt bad at the shelter for what he did today. Terry's been eating a little too much chicken pine lately, so the male body is a little too full. Something unspeakable was done in the shelter that morning. The kid's pretty honest. Since you're so honest, I'm just gonna skip that one. Now that they're awake, he decided to go hunting and try his luck. In the morning, the animals come out to drink. It's the best time to hunt. These contestants are going to hell for a bite of meat. He came to the shore and found a beaver swimming, but Terry was in no hurry to shoot. Because in this open water, if you hit it, it's hard to get it back. Terry was waiting for the right opportunity, and he only got one shot. The beaver slowly swam away. Terry was so torn about whether or not to do it. In the end, he didn't shoot the beaver. He's going to try here again tomorrow morning. Tanrin also got up. He made a pot of berry soup for breakfast. You can barely last a couple of hours from this pot. The squirrels are very active now, but he was in no hurry to hunt. Instead, they choose to cut firewood, because he's already set up hanging traps in front of the squirrel's house. Food is very important here, but firewood at night is just as important. When Tenjin cut the wood, looked up and saw a grouse in a tree. He immediately returned to the shelter to get his bow and hunt. Aim a straight arrow. The grouse hung from the tree and cried for help. This should have missed the mark, but ultimately also died under the baton of Tanrin. Chop wood and hunt a grouse. We're gonna have dinner tonight. Finally, don't worry about food. He felt much lighter, too. Tanrin started a fire on the shore. He's handling grouse. What happened to saving it for tonight? This high guy really has no integrity. He grilled the chicken on a stick. This broad daylight is not to go hunting here to enjoy. It's a waste of time. The first time I ate roast chicken, I felt so good. After eating one skewer and then roasting another, it's a waste of time to roast this grouse. You won't feel full after eating. It should be used to stew mushrooms with chicken. Igor Big Noon in his dance broadcast gymnastics. It feels very cold today without the sun. Igor is having the worst day of any player at the moment. The shelter was not set up. It's not like we've had many successful hunts. He's focused on getting the shelter ready, but progress is very slow. After heating up, he came to the shore to fish. While he was fishing, a beaver appears nearby. In this fast-flowing river, there must be a lot of fish swimming upstream, but he can't fish here with the beavers around. Had to change position to continue fishing. Igor was casting a rod and fishing. He gave up after a few hours. This fish is fucking hard to catch. Tom's side began to set up the cabin shelter. It takes a lot of energy to build a shelter. Now he is hungry and tired. Tom went out hunting with a bow and arrow. A bird was soon caught, though small, but it's a rare protein. The birds are too small to eat. Uncle Tom uses his feathers to make fishing bait. He came to the shore to fish with a fishing rod. These high fishers never use worm bait. Even casting a rod can fish. There are indeed many fish in the river, but it takes a little skill and luck to catch them. The fish will soon be served. Tom caught a trout. It's still pretty big, enough to feed him for the day. Tom could hardly wait to eat it. Caught a fish and a bird today. Tom's luck is too good. Back at the shelter, he began to grill fish. Gringos tend to eat barbecue. Actually, fried fish is delicious. Roast the fish skin on. This traps moisture in the meat. Keep the fish tender and juicy. Tom got some pine sticks to use as placemats. Fantasize about eating in a 5-star hotel. When the fish is cooked, hold the fish in your hands and eat the meat. This is rude, but it's not illegal. Igor picked up some mussels over here. Finally, the high guy doesn't have to eat kelp. I thought this high guy really stopped eating kelp. I didn't realize mussels were a side dish for kelp. Benji came to the grass, looking for the entrails of the beavers that were dropped yesterday. He's going to repurpose the internal organs, make it into hunting bait, but he doesn't know what animals are here. So we set up cameras on the grass to surprise us. It's okay to shoot animals. What if you get a ghost on camera? He left after the cameras were set up. At night, Benji wondered if he could see a black bear. What he looked forward to most was hunting for black bears to eat. This high guy's got a lot of ambition. The time came to day 19. Sure enough, the camera caught a black bear eating bait. Benji might actually have a chance to eat bear meat. Igor was sorting through some charcoal this morning. He wanted to give his teeth some care. Now his wooden shelter is only a third complete. Igor has arguably had the worst of it. Igor loves to use his hands, so brush your teeth with your hands. Take a sip of water after brushing. I can't believe you just swallowed it. The high guy says charcoal is good for the stomach, too. I sometimes have a hard time understanding the behavior of the contestants. I'm ready to set up shelter after brushing my teeth. The wood is no taller than he is now. He's not motivated until the shelter is built. I get up every day and cut down trees anyway. Repetitive labor. It made him feel very sick. It's like working in the field. The worst part is not having enough to eat after work. He didn't have much interest in such work. You don't have any passion for your work. A lot of wood is needed in this way, and the wood is very large. Eat kelp soup every day. I wouldn't do it if I were you. Terry had trouble starting a fire all morning. It's very humid here. His focus lately has been on beavers. Terry's cabin shelter is doing a great job. I just haven't been feeling well lately. He was already feeling dizzy. He decided to go back to sleep. I slept until after 4 p.m. I woke up feeling even worse. And the muscle cramps. He howled in pain from the shelter. It took a while to sit up and feel better. My stomach doesn't hurt now. I'm breathing better. I wish I could stay longer. Time came to the 20th day. Igor woke up one morning to tease about a bad night's sleep. When I close my eyes, I start dreaming about food. Easy to find. It's torture not being able to find something to eat in your dreams. Today his plan is to set hunting traps, then go fishing and eat. All work and no hunting every day. It serves you right. You're so hungry you don't even know your mama. He gets up and does radio gymnastics here again. What? This is? Can we eat radio gymnastics? After the broadcast gymnastics, another kelp seaweed soup for breakfast. He also realized that eating kelp every day was no good. But you can't hunt your own food. The shelter hasn't been built yet. He had no choice but to eat kelp. Just the way Igor is a high guy. My guess is he won't stay long. It's not even 3 weeks away. You only get paid for 2 weeks if you quit now. That's a bit of a loss. After breakfast, it was already raining lightly. He sat on a log and told about the shopping he had just done, wandering the jungle for a long time without hunting for food. He began to doubt his own abilities. Now his confidence is beginning to falter. He doesn't know how to finish his own shelter. After a day's consideration, Igor is going to quit the game. This is the first player to withdraw from the race without completing the wooden shelter. He's totally worn down by the shelter. Building a fancy shelter instead of hunting. Work every day without eating. Living in the wild is almost okay. Eat enough every day to live longer. Igor's withdrawal was expected. Time came to day 21. Terry got up early that morning. He will go to the river and wait for the beaver to appear. Looks like Terry really wants to hunt a beaver to eat. Terry is very much a hunter. His shelter was built in a day. The sky is getting lighter. The beavers are really here again. Terry managed to hit the beaver. Now we just need to find the injured beaver. The beaver was struggling in the water. Now all Terry has to do is wait for the beaver to die. Terry will also be the second contestant to eat beaver meat. He stripped to the water to get the beaver out. The weather is very cold. It is fun to fish for beavers in the icy water. You can eat meat and shit in water. Terry dragged the beaver back to shore. This beaver is very big, just like Benji's. And then he enjoyed it. Players who focus on hunting do well. Instead, the ones who want to build shelters are starving. This beaver will keep Terry in bed for at least a month. It's on his way back. He's already got 100 ways to do it. He doesn't want to waste any meat anyway. So what else will happen to the contestants in the next episode? Look forward to an update in the next video.